There's no allegations of wrongdoing. They're entitled to do an investigation. As I say, it relates to this donor, a valid donor, had been a green card holder since 2007, and, you know, we fully vetted him.
Former Clinton campaign chairman, Democratic Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, on the legal status of one of his campaign donors. This is Risk and Reward. I'm Deirdre Bolton. At issue, a winding money trail to a Clinton family friend. So the person in focus, Governor McAuliffe, who ran in 2013. The FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice are looking into whether or not he took contributions from a Chinese politician. As a reminder, it's illegal for foreign nationals to donate to American political races. McAuliffe says the Chinese billionaire had a green card. FBI and U.S. Department of Justice also examining if there is overlap while McAuliffe was at the Clinton Foundation. Now, on the Clinton connection, here's McAuliffe's comment.
I think we travel in the same circles. I've traveled the globe with President Clinton, and we have a lot of the same friends. Those that give the Clinton Foundation have been friends of mine for years and years. I mean, we've friendship together.
One thing we want to clearly note, there is no allegation that the Clinton Foundation did anything improper, according to officials. This probe focuses on McAuliffe and campaign donations. My guest has done a lot of research on the subject. He is the author of Clinton Cash. He is the senior editor at large at Breitbart News. Peter Schweizer with me now. Welcome, Peter. We're glad you're here. You led an explosive investigation into the foundation. What was the biggest surprise to you in your research?
The biggest surprise to me is when you follow the money, which of course is the oldest adage in politics. You find that while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, the Clintons received huge sums of money through the Clinton Foundation and in the form of speaking fees to Bill Clinton from foreign entities that had matters sitting on her desk at Secretary of State. And after they received those funds, the people who sent that money received favorable action. The big question, of course, is whether the sending of the money is connected to the favorable action. Clinton supporters say it's all a coincidence. I think it's probably something more than that.
Okay, so Peter, when you talk about these speaking fees, we have some stats. We're going to pull them up on the screen so our viewers can follow. Hillary Clinton, at the maximum, made $350,000 for one speaking engagement at eBay, but her range is pretty much between $200,000 and $350,000. President George W. Bush, he has since made speeches since he left office, making on average between $100,000 and $175,000. So it just shows to everyone that the Clintons are clearly being paid a premium for their speaking.
There's no question about that. And in fact, when you look at Bill Clinton's speaking fees when his wife becomes Secretary of State, it's even more shocking. When Bill Clinton leaves the Oval Office in early 2001, up until late 2008, just before Hillary is appointed Secretary of State, his average speaking fee is $175,000. The moment she is announced as the Secretary of State in the Obama administration, Bill Clinton's speaking fees from overseas corporations and governments literally triples overnight. So the question becomes, did they triple overnight because he became 3 times more articulate, or did they triple overnight because those foreign entities wanted something more than just a speech from the Clintons?
So, Peter, for purposes of this conversation, we're using the Clintons' behavior and potential allegations as backdrop. But right now, the FBI and the Department of Justice are investigating Governor McAuliffe. What is your take, based on what you know about the Clintons, about, let's call it, the McAuliffe connection?
Well, I think that, you know, what's been reported is they're looking into whether Terry McAuliffe took donations from somebody who was not legally entitled to make political donations. My understanding is that Mr. Wang has a green card. He could make those donations. I think they're looking into something a lot more detailed than that. Think about this for a second. This is a very basic, easy question to figure out. Does he have a green card or not? According to the initial reporting, the FBI FBI has been investigating this question for a year. It does not take a year to determine whether Mr. Wang has a permanent resident status in the United States or not. I think this is part of a broader FBI investigation looking at the Clinton Foundation. As you noted, there are overlaps between the Clinton Foundation donors and the McAuliffe donors, and Terry McAuliffe is the insider in the Clinton world. I think that this investigation by the FBI has a lot more to do with his relationship with the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation than it does with the fact that he is the governor of the
Peter,
Commonwealth of Virginia.
that's a great point. As you rightly point out, it doesn't take a year to figure out whether or not somebody has a green card. So I take that point very clearly. But McAuliffe has expressed shock, for lack of a better term, at this idea of the probe extending to the Clinton Foundation. So by some stances, I suppose he has to express that kind of surprise, but it sounds like you think there is a much more direct line right now, and that, in your opinion, is what the FBI and the U.S. DOJ are following up on.
I think that's probably the case. I mean, if you look at Mr. Wang, he donated $120,000 to McAuliffe's gubernatorial campaign and to his inauguration. But Mr. Wang also gave $2 million to the Clinton Foundation. He's been involved in Clinton Foundation events. Terry McAuliffe himself was on the board of the Clinton Foundation and on the board of the Clinton Global Initiative. So there is lots of overlap there. Terry McAuliffe's job has always been to protect the Clintons, whether that was the fundraising scandals involving China in the 1990s or today. He's going to continue to play that role, but the FBI is going to look where the FBI wants to look.
So, Peter, when we began the conversation, you alluded to some dots that you were not able to connect, at least as they would stand up in a court of law. What do you think, at this point, completely conjecture, what do you think the FBI and the U.S. DOJ will find?
Yes, this is speculation on my part. I think what they are looking at is a very simple question. Was there pay to play? Were the Clintons taking money and giving favors in return to those donors? Remember, in the state of Virginia itself, the predecessor to Terry McAuliffe is now in jail precisely for doing that, for getting $170,000 in gifts that he was entitled to get, but the charge and the conviction was that he did favors in response to those gifts. You have Senator Menendez from New Jersey, who has been prosecuted on similar allegations. In neither of those cases was there a smoking gun, an email that said, we'll give you this money and you do this in return. I don't think you're going to find that in the McAuliffe case, but I think if you find the same pattern as you do in those instances, and I think it exists, it behooves the FBI to investigate this, and I think to offer a criminal referral to the Department of Justice that the Clintons were indeed taking money and giving favors in return.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, and you're looking at past patterns, which is a completely logical thing to do. Peter Schweizer, we thank you very much for the time.